Venus. At first glance, Venus looks almost familiar. It is close to Earth in size, wrapped in clouds, and bright enough to shine like a jewel in the night sky. For centuries, people imagined it might be a warm, wet world hidden beneath its atmosphere. But when spacecraft finally revealed the truth, Venus became something far more disturbing. It was not Earth's twin. It was Earth's nightmare. The surface of Venus is hot enough to melt lead, with temperatures around 872 degrees Fahrenheit or 467 degrees Celsius. Its atmosphere presses down with about 93 times the pressure at sea level on Earth, roughly like being deep beneath the ocean. Above that crushed landscape are thick clouds containing sulfuric acid. There is no gentle sunrise, no breathable air, and no ocean waiting beneath the haze. There is only rock, pressure, poison, and heat trapped by a runaway greenhouse effect. What makes Venus terrifying is not that it looks alien. It is terrifying because it looks like a warning. It shows how a planet similar in size to Earth can become completely unlivable. A spacecraft on its surface would not explore for long. It would be cooked, crushed, and corroded. Venus is beautiful from a distance, but up close, it is one of the closest things to hell in the solar system. Jupiter. Jupiter is not a planet you land on. It is a planet you fall into. There is no solid surface waiting beneath the clouds, no ground where a human could stand and look around. Instead, Jupiter is a colossal world of gas, storms, pressure, radiation, and gravity. It is so massive that it dominates the solar system like a failed star, pulling moons, comets, and spacecraft into its enormous influence. The most famous feature on Jupiter is the Great Red Spot, a storm so large that Earth could fit inside it. This storm has been observed for generations, and NASA describes it as an enormous anticyclone trapped between powerful jet streams. But the Great Red Spot is only one part of the danger. Jupiter's atmosphere is filled with violent bands of wind, massive storms, and crushing layers where pressure increases the deeper you go. The deeper something falls into Jupiter, the less familiar physics begins to feel. Clouds become darkness. Gas becomes pressure. Pressure becomes destruction. A probe would be squeezed, heated, and eventually destroyed long before reaching anything like a surface. Jupiter is terrifying because it does not kill like a desert, a volcano, or a frozen wasteland. It swallows. It is not a world you visit. It is a world that consumes anything that enters too deeply. Neptune. Neptune does not need fire to be frightening. Its terror comes from distance, darkness, and wind. It is the farthest major planet from the Sun, orbiting in a region where sunlight is weak and warmth is almost gone. From Earth, it appears calm and blue. But that color hides one of the harshest atmospheres in the solar system. Neptune's weather is extreme. Winds there can reach some of the fastest speeds measured in the solar system, far beyond the most violent hurricanes on Earth. Storm systems appear and vanish in its atmosphere, moving across a planet so cold and distant that it feels almost disconnected from the sun's warmth. The blue world is not peaceful. It is a frozen giant wrapped in motion. What makes Neptune terrifying is its loneliness. Venus attacks with heat. Jupiter overwhelms with size. Neptune feels like the edge of the known world. It is a place of deep cold, high-speed winds and endless atmosphere. There is no rescue, no nearby warmth, and no surface that turns the planet into a place. It is a blue abyss moving through the darkness. HD 189733b. Some planets look harmless until you learn what is happening there. HD 189733b is one of them. From far away, this exoplanet appears blue, almost beautiful, like a distant version of Earth. But the color is a trap. This is not a calm ocean world. It is a gas giant where the weather sounds like something invented for a nightmare. NASA has described it as a world where winds can reach about 5,400 miles per hour. Even worse, the planet may experience rain made of glass, blown sideways through the atmosphere by those violent winds. Its blue color likely comes not from oceans, but from silicate particles in its atmosphere scattering light. In other words, it looks inviting because of the same material that could help turn its storms into blades. HD 189733b is terrifying because it betrays what we expect from beauty. If a human could somehow appear there, the danger would not come as one single impact. It would come as heat, speed, pressure, and cutting weather from every direction. This is a planet where the sky itself becomes a weapon. Kelt 9b. This planet is not just hot. It is almost impossible to describe without sounding exaggerated. This exoplanet orbits extremely close to a very hot star, completing one orbit in only about 1.5 Earth days. Its dayside is so intensely heated that molecules can be torn apart in the atmosphere. NASA describes it as a gas giant being blasted by extreme radiation from its star. This world is hotter than many stars. Its dayside temperature has been estimated at more than 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 4,600 Kelvin. At that level of heat, ordinary ideas of weather stop making sense. Clouds, chemistry, atmosphere, and radiation all behave in extreme ways. The planet is not simply orbiting a star, it is being punished by it. Cancri 9b is terrifying because it feels like a planet caught in the process of being erased. It is huge but vulnerable, massive but trapped. Every orbit brings it around its star again, exposing it to radiation so intense that its atmosphere is being reshaped and stripped away. Some planets are dangerous because of what they are. Cancri 9b is terrifying because of what is happening to it. WASP-12b. This is a doomed planet. It orbits so close to its star that a year there lasts only about 1.1 Earth days. But the most disturbing part is not its speed. It is the fact that the planet is being torn apart. NASA describes it as a hot Jupiter orbiting so close to its parent star that it is being distorted and stripped. Imagine a giant planet stretched by gravity until it is no longer perfectly round. Its atmosphere is pulled outward. Material leaks away. The star does not simply shine on the planet, it slowly devours it. WASP-12b is not an instant explosion. It is a long death. That is what makes it frightening. A normal disaster has a moment of impact. WASP-12b is a disaster in progress. It is a world caught too close to power, losing itself piece by piece. If planets could suffer, this would be one of the clearest examples in the universe. TRES-2b. Darkness is usually just the absence of light. On TRES-2b, darkness feels like the planet's identity. This gas giant is known as one of the darkest planets ever discovered orbiting a star. NASA describes it as less reflective than coal, absorbing almost all the light that reaches it. Some scientists think its atmosphere may still glow faintly red from its heat, giving it the appearance of a black world with a sinister ember-like glow. The fear of TRES-2b is different from the violence of Venus or HD 189733b. It does not need glass rain or crushing pressure to feel disturbing. Its terror is visual. A giant planet almost refusing to reflect light sounds less like a normal world and more like a hole in space. If you were near it, you might not see a bright, colorful planet like Jupiter. You might see a massive shadow, heated from within, absorbing starlight and giving almost nothing back. This is terrifying because it turns a planet into something ghost-like present, enormous, and nearly invisible. 55 Cancri E. 55 Cancri E, also called Janssen, is a super-Earth, but that name can be misleading. It does not mean a better Earth. It means a rocky planet larger and more massive than ours. And in this case, it means a world pushed to extremes. This planet orbits very close to its star, completing a full year in less than one Earth day. NASA describes it as a super-hot world with a global ocean of lava and sparkling skies. This is not a planet of oceans and continents. It is a planet where rock itself can behave like liquid. The star-facing side is heated so intensely that the surface may be molten. Recent observations suggest it may even have an atmosphere, possibly formed or replenished by gases released from its molten interior. That makes it even stranger, a rocky world with heat, vapor, and a surface that seems closer to a furnace than a landscape. 55 Cancri E is terrifying because it twists something familiar. A rocky planet should feel more understandable than a gas giant. It has mass, a surface, maybe minerals and skies. But here, the familiar becomes hostile. It is a super-Earth, not because it is welcoming, but because it is Earth-like material pushed into nightmare conditions. Mars. Mars is often treated like the next frontier, the place humans might one day walk, build, and survive. But Mars is terrifying in a quieter way. It does not burn like Venus or crush like Jupiter. It waits. It is cold, dry, dusty, and almost airless, with a thin atmosphere that offers little protection. The surface looks familiar enough to tempt us, but not forgiving enough to welcome us. The danger of Mars is that it feels almost possible. A human could stand there in a suit. A rover can drive across its plains. Mountains, valleys, polar caps, and ancient riverbeds make it look like a world with a story. But remove the technology, and Mars becomes lethal almost immediately. The air is mostly carbon dioxide. The pressure is far too low. The cold can be severe. Dust storms can grow across huge regions. Radiation reaches the surface more easily than on Earth. Mars is terrifying because it is close to being survivable, but not close enough. It is the kind of planet that makes humans dream, then reminds them that dreams need oxygen, pressure, heat, shielding, food, water, and luck. Mars does not look like a monster. That is why it may be the most psychologically dangerous planet of all. It makes death look reachable. Kepler 10b. Kepler 10b is terrifying because it feels like a planet that should not be able to survive, yet somehow does. It was one of the first confirmed rocky exoplanets discovered by NASA's Kepler mission, but calling it rocky does not make it friendly. This is not another Earth. It is a scorched world orbiting extremely close to its star, completing a year in less than one Earth day. The star-facing side of Kepler 10b is believed to be intensely hot, with surface temperatures high enough to melt rock. Instead of oceans, forests, or clouds, parts of this planet may be covered in glowing lava. Any atmosphere it once had was likely stripped away or made impossible to hold for long because of the extreme radiation and heat from its nearby star. What makes Kepler 10b disturbing is how familiar and alien it is at the same time. It is a rocky planet like Earth, but pushed into conditions that turn the ground itself into danger. There would be no shelter, no breathable sky, and no stable surface that feels safe. The planet is locked in a violent relationship with its star, circling so closely that every orbit feels like another pass through a furnace. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.